Aerocross. Developed as a spiritual successor to Namco's 1985 title Metrocross, Aerocross was a planned Bandai Namco game that was expected to release in the early 2010s. The game was announced alongside Pac-Man Championship Edition DX and Galaga Legions DX, as the three were supposed to be a trio of sorts. Aerocross was the only one of those three that was cancelled and was never released. The Xbox 360 version was actually found in a development kit, similar to how the cancelled South Park game was found. The PlayStation 3 version of the game isn't completely found, as all that's been recovered of it has been a demo, which has been uploaded to Internet Archive.
Hey guys, Nick Gamer here. Want to learn how to carry a tune? Sorry, I meant cartoon. The SpongeBob Cartoon Creator puts you in the director's chair where you can create your own Bikini Bottom scene.
SpongeBob Cartoon Creator. This was a flash game on Nick.com that was available from 2008 to 2013. It was a limited way of creating your own scenes with the SpongeBob characters and backgrounds. There was a choice of 27 backgrounds and obviously the user's choice of whichever characters they wanted to be in the scene, which could perform whatever actions the user wanted. Actually, now that I'm talking about this, it might be more appropriate to call this a tool than a game. Users actually were even able to share their creations on Nick.com, sort of like Happy Wheels. The Netherlands had access to this tool the earliest, it seems, as an English version didn't pop up until late 2009. Then all of a sudden in 2013, when users would boot up the SpongeBob Cartoon Creator, all that showed was a message saying it was unavailable, and that it'd be back soon. Soon, in that case, meant 2017, with an updated version of the Cartoon Creator appeared back on Nick.com. Unfortunately, it was a bare-bones comic creation tool without fully fledged animation like the first one had, and it also lacked the ability to be able to share your creations. Now, certain aspects of the Cartoon Creator are archived, but are not completely functional. The Beagles. The Beagles was a cartoon that aired in the 60s on CBS. As the name and the art both suggest, The Beagles was a series about a band of dogs. Obviously, the name is suggestive of the Beatles, who had their own cartoon on ABC at the time, and this was meant to compete with it. This was Total Television's last cartoon ever, and a YouTube channel bearing that name, that I'm not sure whether or not it actually has ties to Total Television, uploaded all the original songs from the show in 2021. Since most of the stories were told in 4 parts, it made finding the actual episodes much tougher, and many of the episodes only have bits and pieces of them found, but nothing close to the entire series is found. Mario Takes America. Some of the worst Mario games ever where Mario is missing in Mario's Time Machine, but then, as well as those terrible games, there's also Hotel Mario for the Philips CDI, which is also considered one of the worst Mario games, and a meme.
No.
And so, when you combine edutainment with the jokes for games that were the Nintendo CDI titles, what do you get? Mario Takes America. The game, of course, involves Mario traveling across America with actual video footage combined with 2D sprites, which couldn't have been a good effect. Because the game used so much memory, the game didn't perform well, and it was shelved after the developer went bankrupt. Quite hilariously, if the developers couldn't get the license to use Mario in the game, they had already built assets of the game with Sonic the Hedgehog just to use as a backup. Delivery of Destiny Original UK Release. A rare example of an alternate episode for the UK market, this was a Phineas and Ferb episode from 2012 centering around Paul the Delivery Guy. The character Paul the Delivery Guy had 2 different voice actors depending on if you were watching the episode in the UK or in North America. As the regular version of the episode had Paul voiced by Christian Slater, the British version was voiced by Simon Pegg. Thus, there were 2 different versions of the English language episode. But, as Disney Channel and Disney XD went defunct in the UK a few years ago, the episode went into a state of flux as to whether you could watch the episode on North American streaming or British streaming outlets. But the only version available on either today is the original American version with Christian Slater. Thus, the original British version of the episode with Simon Pegg is lost.
Paul?
Hey, boys, you ordered 20 tons of building material.
We sure did.
Okay, sign here. I thought I had a pen here somewhere.
No problem. I'll just use the pen you left here yesterday.
Wii Fit Body Check channel. The Wii Fit was a fad that was still rather innovative, as it wasn't really something a major video game company had tried before, or since to be honest. In Japan, however, the Wii Fit had a feature that the rest of the world never got. That is, the Body Check channel. This was a way for doctors to perform checkups on users remotely, giving the users a set of instructions and then sending the data to the user's doctor. If you wanted to use this, you couldn't just download it from the Wii Shop channel whenever you wanted. You had to be issued a download ticket by a company, which set the user base at an incredibly low number. Now, this Wii channel has connections to the DS game Personal Trainer Walking, but it was only to measure how much the user had walked. If you're lucky enough to have the Wii software, only the main menu is accessible today. Tokyo 1960. In this film, from 1957, Godzilla attacks and terrorizes a city. What city, you ask? Manila, of course, because despite claims it was shot in Tokyo, the film was apparently shot in Manila, as it was a Filipino film. Described in advertisements as the mightiest melodrama of them all, it didn't really surface as a film of interest until 2008, when the search for the film really kicked up. Video 48 mentioned it in their 3 atomic monster movies of the 1950s, to which film enthusiasts replied, "What even is this?" As a matter of fact, there's no footage of this available, so it's unknown if that whole thing about where this film was shot is even a worthwhile debate. For all we know, this film could just be a redub of the original Godzilla. JonTron Lost Videos. Perhaps one of the most iconic YouTube creators, or at least in the gaming space he is, JonTron has had a very long and storied career, even with his sparse upload schedule on his main channel. There was still some content, however, that we never got to see. There are 3 videos that were either in production or fully produced that were never uploaded to his channel. One of which was his video about Disneyland-based games, which got pretty far in production, with much of the footage being produced and assembled. John later stated that the project didn't turn out how he wanted it to, and so it was scrapped. Then there's a short clip of John holding a banana from an unknown video. It's unknown what the topic of this video would have been or why it was never uploaded. And then there was a planned 2011 video titled Top 10 Mario Levels, where the number 10 and number 9 segments have been found thanks to John revealing them himself. But John has stated that the video isn't good, and that's why we haven't seen it since. You can't do that on television. This was quite an influential show for Nickelodeon, despite not even being a Nickelodeon original, as it cemented the sketch comedy genre on that network, but it also introduced what would later become Nickelodeon's trademark slime. But You Can't Do That on Television was actually a Canadian show, and each episode would have its own theme, which was rare and innovative for sketch comedies at the time. One oddity of this show is that each episode had 2 versions up to season 2, an hour-long cut and a half-hour-long cut. After the show was edited for syndication, the hour-long episodes became much more rare finds, and as a result, many of the hour-long season 2 episodes are lost. Everyone knows that, aka ulterior motives. Well, a lot of time has passed since I first talked about this. Actually, it really has been a long time ago, as I'm pretty sure I was the very first Lost Media YouTuber to talk about this on their channel, all the way back in January 2023. And all we knew back then was that there was 17 seconds of this song available. No one knew the exact title, the artist, the country of origin, or really anything besides the fact that 17 seconds were available. That was until recently. The actual song is titled Ulterior Motives, and it was recorded by Christopher and Philip Booth in 1986. Get this, for a porno. No joke. And now, since the whole song has been found, it's still in low quality, and everything besides the 17 seconds that were already found is covered up by sex noises, so it's not really something you'd want to listen to, but it technically is found.